This is Talking My Walking. I am Rodrigo Ribeiro, just another voice in the wilderness. Today I want to talk about how to become a more independent, genuine voice. We all know that we learn through mimicry and repetition. That's how human beings learn. That's how animals in general learn. So repetition and mimicry plays a huge role in how we learn habits, behaviors, uh, how we learn perceptions, how we perceive ourselves, how we perceive the world, how we communicate, uh, how we relate to others, how we relate to the environment in general or in particular ways, whatever. Um, because the illusion of free choice and free decision, rational making process is what is what it is an illusion. Not because we as individuals, as conscious individuals, do not have the ability to choose and decide, because we do it all the time, every day of our lives. We have to make decisions, we have to make choices. um, that is we know about that. But the problem is that we do believe that at a deeper level, we do control what we think, and how we think, and what we think about, uh, as part of this process of free choice and free decision, as if we live in a bubble, or we live shield, or somehow we live shield from influences and manipulations and all the machinery, the propaganda machinery, the PR machinery, the I mean, at all levels of our life experience, of our existential experience. And we somehow, for some miracle, many of us, I think the majority of us, believe that we are immune. That this is a strange belief, that we are immune, that everything we believe it is a free choice, and more than that, we in many ways even believe that most of what we believe is fact based. Is We have no doubt, uh, or very little doubt, that we are right, that our beliefs is the right ones, is the ones that make sense, is the logical ones. And that's why I always say that human beings are not rational beings, we are logical beings, which is different. Rational, it should be meaning that you use reason, use discernment to try your best to not to not deceive yourself into some intellectual trap, or a reasoning process trap. And that's not what we do. What we do actually is follow logic. If something is logic for us, according to our past experience, and our personality and temperament and all these traits that are important, we just accept it as true, as we trust it. And if we do not verify it, of course, I can build a logical text, narrative, based on a lie or a half-truth. And that's what most of the time happens. Unfortunately, we live in a world where there are abundance of narratives that are based on lies, half-truths. Many of them, or maybe most of them, intentionally crafted to deceive us, to manipulate us. And nevertheless, we believe that since it was us, since I choose myself, it is me, it is in my power, in my will, that I choose a particular vision, a particular worldview, or a particular ideology, or theology, or whatever. And since it's me that is doing it, and I kind of tend to believe that I do it free of influence. I mean, I might understand that I am influenced, but I also believe that I did my choice not because of those influences, but because of my will, my free will to choose it, to believe that is the best for me, or is the way to solve a problem, or is the way to bring meaning to my existence. And therefore, we live in this trap, and this trap is not necessarily a failure of something negative about about the human condition. It is just part of who we are, and we can have a culture, and that's why this is the relevance of what I'm trying to say is that we can truly have a culture that promotes narratives, and that promotes a societal system. And when I mean a culture, I mean everything, which means it's the political system, the economic system, and all the rest. This is the culture. We cannot think about culture as books and arts and pop culture and this and that, and think that this is just no culture. We need to think about culture as the system that includes all the other systems, because those systems that when we think about an economic system or a political system, we might not think about culture, but all these systems together shape the culture, shape how we perceive, shape the narratives. They are crafted by vested interests in a system that is a pyramid scheme based on the meritocratic scam. And this individualistic, the reason why we have this focus in this individualistic perception, it then reflects on how we perceive, how we overvalue the power of our of our will, of our free choice, of our free thinking processes, as if we think separately from what we have learned from our experience and interaction with the rest of society. You know, and this is very interesting because it is this is the kind of experience, the kind of knowledge that we do not learn, that we do not. This is something that you need to go through it in order to understand this process. I mean, I always say that it's always about the processes and systems and relations, and we tend to forget that we, as the sociocultural condition of our species, allows us to adapt to many different circumstances and environments, and in our case, manufacture artificial environments. That's what society is. That's why we are domesticated animals. And we need to perceive ourselves as domesticated animals that live in artificial manufactured environments, and that our minds, you know, the subconscious mind is filled. First of all, we need to understand ourselves as a living organism. The knowledge and the experience we cannot separate this from the circumstances of life for everything else. But because we need to understand that our experience and the knowledge that we acquired is through a living organism that needs to survive in this environment. And that's why it's very important to understand that as sociocultural beings, and especially as social beings, mimicry and repetition plays a huge role in shaping behavior, perception, the acquisition of habits, the learning of values and principles, these value systems, these moral codes that can change, because you have to understand. I mean, we need to understand that any moral code is the weaponization or the instrumentalization of values and principles into narratives that can be good or bad. Because if you can have a moral code that tells you that you must stone to death a woman that committed adultery, for example, we know that is wrong, that should not happen. Or this is just an example. And nevertheless, it can be part of a moral code that is widely accepted and even glorified. And that's why my idea is either we try to have a culture in this wider sense, in this comprehensive and holistic sense, that truly helps us to understand the traits of our sociocultural condition, and that culture helps us to not fall easily into traps, into being deceived and instrumentalized by the wrong people and the wrong narratives that will transform us into tools, useful idiots, cannon fodder, expendable peons in the hands of others, and ultimately in the hands of those that are the worst of us, which are the ones that are are have sociopathic traits or psychopathic traits, innate or acquired, and they are the exception. But nevertheless, since I keep saying they have the leverage, they have the advantage of not feeling compassion and empathy. They do not need to cooperate or reciprocate. They don't care about that. They have bottom lines. Their whims, it's what matters. You know? They usually are narcissistic, and they are also megalomaniacal, which means they have ideas about grandiose, they suffer from these grandiose visions of the world. They want to become eternal. That's why many times they build these huge temples and these things, because they want to eternalize themselves on earth, that they want to be remembered forever. So this should be seen, perceived by us as diseases, or if not diseases, at least not acceptable, not by any means the epitome of the human condition, but it should be the opposite. But we can make believe, and that is the point, that this is the glory and the glorification and this idolatry of these people is not only right, is how we as human beings progress. That's how we create civilizations. Our civilizations have been the projects, the visions of these people, and we do live under this spell, and only by stepping back. What is stepping back? Stepping back requires discipline. If you come to the conclusion that mainstream media or movies or even books, because most books are just, do never believe that just because you read books you are going to be more free or smarter or more of a critical thinker or whatever. No, it's how you train your brain, your cognitive functions. That's how you train your critical skills. They are innate, but they need to be trained, and that's how you become more culturally. That's how we become more independent and genuine. It's by developing. This is not through process of cleansing, spiritual cleansing, okay? This is about that you think about what you think. And you really learn and train yourself into be more skeptical, but not in the way that you don't not trust. It's that you really learn to use your discernment. But if we do not disconnect, if we do not stop certain habits, acquired habits, and I remember that when I was younger and watching TV, it is art. You know, you are watching a stupid movie, but you keep wasting your time until the end of the movie because they know how to manipulate your emotions. They know how to shape habits and addictions. You know, that we become kind of uh, uh, addicted. You know, and I always say that convenience is very powerful, because convenience can really makes us break our will. So you can say that it is just what I want to do. I like to be a couch potato. I like to watch this series. I have a lot of laughter. I enjoy it. Blah 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 blah. Yes, you can do it. You can have fun. I mean, we all have fun listening to. I mean, there are things we. I do not say I'm not fundamentalist in the sense that, oh, you just stop scrolling, you stop using this, you don't watch TV, you don't watch movies. If you want to be free, you have to do this. It's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I'm talking about self-discipline, that we need to have some self-discipline if we really want to have some cultural, I mean, if we want as individual to have to build a more independent and genuine understanding of the world and of yourself. Because we all are manipulated. Forget about that. All of us. I'm not talking about biases. This is part of bias. But that the thing is that we all are biased for sure. We all have prejudices, and if we go, I always tell people, nobody. We all have prejudices. Okay, if you go, you can have good or bad prejudices. Okay, you can have prejudices that are really bad, and you can have prejudices that are good. Which means that you need to go. You won't get rid of prejudices. You can have, through your own will and discipline, get rid of bad prejudices and move to good ones, to ones that give you, that humanize you. Because in the end, what I'm talking about is a process by which we become more humanized and conscious of our sociocultural condition, conscious of the role of reciprocity, of the role of cooperation, the role of trust and justice to make us human beings, to make a life worth living. Or we need to live these schizophrenic lives to have to to live permanently in cognitive dissonance, to compromise this and that. And if we might not destroy ourselves, then many people can live comfortably with this kind of compromise inside themselves, because they feel they are doing the right thing by pursuing the self-interest, by pursuing wealth and power, and by building careers that they might be meaningless. They might even engage in lying and self-deception in order to achieve a position, or to whatever. uh, always thinking that all these choices and decisions are totally free. That's what they want, and they want it. But why do they want it? Would them, or me, or you, want something that so many times we can say that it's I want it, if we would not live in a particular society or a particular environment, or being influenced by whatever it is? Of course not. There are no free decisions. There are no free choices. Uh, they don't come out of nowhere. They don't come from a void. They come from the fact that you exist. We exist in a society, within the confinements of a society. And that society, whatever we understand about ourselves, the language we speak, it may be a choice. Again, I'm a native Portuguese, and nonetheless I'm speaking English right now, and I do most of my recordings in English. Does it mean it was a free choice? Yes, I could speak in Portuguese. No, if I speak in English, there is some reason that I might not even understand why. I might say that, okay, I speak English because I want to reach a wider audience. Nobody listens to me anyway. So, but okay, you see the point is why don't I speak French? If I would be, I said it before, if the previous generation, the people that are now in their 80s, for example, they were totally influenced. They were francophones. You know, the culture, the main culture, the Portuguese main influence, culturally speaking, was the French culture, not the Anglophone culture, much less the American culture. And my generation is totally different. At school, my first foreign language that I learned, it was French. No. Probably nobody learns French. I don't know what is the, that's how things change. So, and is it a choice? Is it the previous generation, the generation before mine, were totally influenced by the French culture? I mean, they were reading other reading books, Russian books, German books, from England, Shakespeare, and this and that. Okay, that's not the point. But the Paris was in the center of the intelligentsia, and was replaced by London and by New York. So this is what we need to understand, that what seems to be free choices, because we make them, and we know that we make them, they are not free in the sense they do not happen in a social void, a socio-cultural void, in the socio-economic void, because the decisions, the process by which we decide and choose, is influenced by many factors that have to do with our social environment, our social status, the social status of our families, the schools all the things combined. And the fact that it seems to be a free choice is the illusion. and and that's why we need to learn how to, and the better we understand this process, as we understand the systems and how these weapons of mass deception are used, this web of deceit is used to control us, even again giving us the illusion of choice, the illusion of diversity and plurality which exists. But it is an illusion because at the core, the system is shielded. It's shielded. It doesn't allow to be corrupted by the ideas or ideologies or worldviews that are that the kind of dissent that can threaten the existing status quo. And this status quo is always economic, is political and cultural. And that's why when people think about politics and economics, cannot. Are people saying, for example, that there is no economics, there is no economic science, what is this, only exists political economy, which I agree with. What I want to say is there is no political economy that at the same time is not cultural. You know? Because it gives us a worldview. It shapes how we perceive ourselves in the context of a society, in context of working opportunities, of how do we fulfill our obligations as citizens of a society. You know? How do we divide, how power is distributed or concentrated? How property, what is the concepts of property? You can say property, how is you know, you can sell and buy property, you own I mean, this, yes. But this is, in our minds, we have a cultural concept of property, a cultural ideological, that is also political. That's the idea that I'm trying to say. When we perceive something, we should not forget that the ideas we have about it, they have nothing to do with free choice, that we choose to have those perceptions. What we choose when we become more independent, when our thinking processes are more independent and genuine, is when we try to understand that, okay, maybe this way to organize is not the best one. There's something wrong with it. And then we independently can think, can use our creative thinking processes, our imagination, and look for facts and reliable data and build a narrative as not a fictional narrative, but build a theory or a hypothesis that try to frame the reality in another way. That always with the perspective that we as human beings, we should have societies that humanize us, and the ones we have, we have evolved, or we have more accurately, we have developed a society that is science and technologically based, and for commodification, to build products and services to create, to build products and produce goods and offer services um, to as to be offered as commodities. So this is it has been a development. We should recognize it. There are many things that we know and we have that they have a very positive impact on society, and but the 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 since the idea, since the main objective, the bottom line is the profit, and this the accumulation of wealth and the concentration of private property and the primacy of private property and proprietary rights over everything, including life itself, not only human life, but all the biosphere. We need to understand that, yes, recognize that are certain aspects of the societal development that we can recognize as positive, but the objective, but the goal, the agenda is negative. It is dehumanizing us. It's not humanizing us. We are more sophisticated, we are better educated, we have more of this and more of that, we have better health. I mean, okay, the ones that can afford it. We have developed a sanitary system that we can have, okay, all the things that we know, that we can recognize, that are positive. But the system itself, it's dehumanizing us. And that's why we need to build these independent and genuine thought processes that have nothing to do, that we cannot, that are independent from our how we perceive, what we think about our what free will is, or free choice and free decision making. And we learn that since the main way, since mimicry and repetition is so important to us to shape who we are and how we perceive ourselves and the world, we need to understand that what we do every day is repeating or regurgitating or replicating or reproducing not what others created, the visions, the ideologies, the worldviews, and whatever it is that has been other people's creation. And that's why we should never follow authorities. We should respect and respect people and admire to a certain extent. Admiration is okay. Never glorification. Never idolatry. Because no, we are all equals. Forget about that. More intelligent, less intelligent. We are all equals. We are all human beings. We all have flaws. We all are made out of bits and pieces of other people's knowledge and experience. So we are socio-cultural beings. We could not survive alone by any stretch of the imagination. and we need to think, feel, and act as if this really matters, because it does. If we want to have a society that is truly humanized, I'm not talking only about a political system or an economic system, which is important. I have my ideas about politics and about economics. What I'm trying to say that we do need a culture that really changes how we perceive ourselves, how we can really be more aware of who we are as human beings, be aware of our potential and be aware of our weaknesses, and understand that there is nothing we can achieve in life without others. This is not propaganda. This is how we have survived. We could not have survived without these characteristics, without reciprocity, without cooperation, without trust. That's why if those, the ones that we praise now in this type of society where we live, would be probably killed, because if some guy in a small group would want to control everything and would not share anything and would think that he would be able to impose his will or to eventually control, or it would be killed by the other, because it would not be acceptable, or be expelled from the group, which maybe could be also a death sentence. And now we praise them. That's like Aesop said. We just hang the petty thieves, and we appoint the big ones to office. That's what we are doing. We praise the people that have exactly the traits, or they lack the traits, the basic traits of that makes the human species, the sociocultural, the social nature of the human species, which is empathy and compassion, essential for our survival. And now they are seen as some expendable. We can choose to have it or to exercise it or not. I don't know if probably, we need to reflect deeply in a holistic way, in a comprehensive way, what we really are or want to be. What kind of society do you really want to have? What is the objective of life? What is the purpose of life? How can we have meaningful lives without being screwing each other? Or then we don't have when we don't have any other choice, and we don't have solutions, that just we go to war and we destroy it. We destroy everything, then we can rebuild again. Until when will it last? Do you think that just because you have 10,000 years of history of this imperialistic civilization, this is all we have as human beings, that it describes humanity, that it describes who we really are? That you think because we have just this thing called artificial intelligence, and since we have all this stuff and these delusions about going to Mars and about this and that, and it's going to be the end of work and all this bullshit, and all the rest that it's going that we have achieved. There is nothing better as a civilizational paradigm, as a societal paradigm. There is nothing better. Like they say, oh, there is no. It was Churchill that said it. That there is nothing. We don't have anything better than this liberal democracy. That system that we can have. It's this representative, this managerial, this managed democracy. Is it the best we can have as human beings? Is it the description of this is the epitome of civilization? This representative democracy? Don't we see the stage of decrepitude? I don't know if that word exists in English. I cannot find the word right now. It's a mess. And this mess, we live in a moment in history where reforms, this system is irreformable. We need a revolution, and honestly, all revolutions are revolutions of the mind. Because if we do not have the proper frame, cultural frame, the understanding of, and I mean by culture, I mean culture that encapsulates everything. We just keep going on with this fragmented understanding of reality, this polarized understanding of reality. Economy, politics, this and that, and everything is separated, is in different compartments, different shelves, and this and that. This is how we think we get somewhere safe and sound. I mean, that's what you think. Can we not do better? Yes, but we need to think about it, to think outside the box. But how do we think outside the box? That's the point, what I'm trying to say. We need to step away or step back to have perspective, to acquire perspective. It is a conscious, I keep repeating this is a conscious transformative process that needs to be done by each one of us. It cannot be I cannot just ask somebody else to do it for me. I need to do it myself. But we need to stop, honestly, stop watching the movies, for example, because these things go deep into our subconscious minds and shape the dominant narratives. Because there are things we cannot avoid. If we need to go to work, we are deeply influenced by this environment, or we can live in an alienated way, but we cannot avoid it. We need it. But there are things that we can avoid, that we can use, that we can and use our will to say, no, I want to use my time, which is my life, to do something more useful, more purposeful, more meaningful to myself, to my understanding of what I am, of what I want to be. Or do we just want to be mindless consumerists and short attention span spectators consuming infotainment and scrolling and watching stupid ads and following venal celebrities and influencers and whoever. That's what you talk about when you talk about free choice and free decision making and free will. What can I say? I mean, we need to elevate the conversation. We need to discuss uh, what kind of society, what kind of civilization do we want. We need to stop believing to that others will do it for you, that you have to have an authority, a savior, a hero, a leader, whoever it is that will do not delegate your responsibility. So what for are you talking about free choice if you don't even want to have the responsibility of thinking in a holistic and deep way about what's going on around you and also inside you? That's I mean in a time when deception is ubiquitous, is everywhere, is 24/7, is multi-level, is multi-dimensional. We do live in a web of deceit. I don't care if you call it matrix or use some whatever the theory, conspiracy theory pleases you or fits your whatever it is. We live in a web of deceit, and we need to have organized, an organized and vision and program and project. But in order to get there, we also need to go through this awakening process with using our own will, instead of letting us be deceived and entertained into deception and manipulation and control. And because I'm talking about social engineering with a purpose, which the purpose is not to free us. The purpose is to use us. The purpose is to instrumentalize us through the weaponization of certain value systems or principles or whatever it is, or ideologies, narratives, to keep us divided, fragmented, tribalized, atomized, fanaticized. While that's how we live all our lives, in a delusional state and in a weakened state and in a state of learned helplessness that we don't even recognize, or we just don't want even to face. while fighting for cramps. Okay? Could be different. And it's reachable, because this is not beyond our possibilities as human beings. For some people, when some people say, "Oh, this is because of human condition, we just are like this," don't listen to that people that tell you that rubbish. It's not because it's we can and have the power to do it, but it truly needs an individual process. If you want to use your free will, if you want to think, to pursuit of self-interest, it is also in your self-interest to be less susceptible to be manipulated, to be instrumentalized, at least with the wrong. We always will be an instrument, but an instrument for in what it can be an instrument for good or an instrument for bad, or for the collective well-being, or just to funnel the power and the wealth upwards without even recognizing it or wanting or living in denial about it. Yes, that's the reality. But don't blame the human condition, because we can reflect, we can use our discernment, and we can really understand what's going on without the need to fall for conspiracy theories. Not because conspiracies don't exist, because they do exist, but just the most important thing is to build a comprehensive understanding. A factual is our fight against being our understanding of language framing, logical fallacies, rhetorical tricks, and all the rest. How they play with images and subliminal messages and everything else that they play, because they do it to control us, to exploit us, to keep us in a state of fear, in a state of apathy, in a state of hopelessness. But we can really build an independent. By independent, I don't mean that is not connected to anything, okay? I'm saying independent in the sense of free, more sound. Not because it's not, everything is interconnected, okay? And genuine voice, to build our genuine voice, not against anybody, but for the common well-being, the collective well-being. There is no individual freedom or individual well-being that, if we want always to suppress the collective well-being, in the end we will destroy each other, because we are transformed into adversaries, into enemies, into this, into that. Through a process that doesn't even recognize our humanity. It's just this. I don't even know what these people want us to be, honestly. Now it seems that the solution is to be transhumanized. It's the solution. It's the techno-fix solution. because everything is transformed into a religion, into a cult. That's where we live now, in the time of the techno scientism cult and the techno fixism cult. Can we do better than this? Sure, we can. It's really up to our. It's a choice. Honestly, it's a choice. But in order to have this choice, we need to upgrade your thinking processes, your thoughts processes, your thought process. All right. Thank you for listening. I will be back soon.